My sister borrowed my 15-year-old daughter's brand new car, crashed it into a tree, and then called the cops on the child. Our parents lied to the police to protect my golden sister. I stayed silent and did this. 3 days later, their faces went pale when... You don't expect someone to bang on your front door a little after midnight when you've spent the evening doing absolutely nothing dramatic. I was in sweatpants, staring at a spreadsheet that refused to balance, a plate with the crumbs of boxed brownie mix on the coffee table. My daughter Lily had said goodnight an hour earlier. I heard her bedroom door click shut, heard the soft thump of whatever playlist she falls asleep to these days. It was a normal, boring Thursday night. A wild night. I know. So when the doorbell rang once, then again, then came the knock, hard enough that I actually jumped. I thought neighbor, package, maybe some delivery screw-up. Not 2 uniformed officers on my porch with that "we'd rather be anywhere but here" expression. "Ma'am? Aaron?" the taller one said, checking the clipboard like he wasn't sure how to pronounce my very basic name. "Aaron Collins?" "Yeah," I said, heart already doing something unpleasant. "Is everything okay?" They didn't answer that. They never do in the movies either, I noticed. "Are you the registered owner of a silver Civic? Plate number?" He rattled it off. It was my car. Lily's car. Same difference. "Yes," I said slowly. "What's going on?" "Miss Collins," the other officer said, softer. "Your vehicle was involved in a collision about 40 minutes ago. Single car crash into a tree outside your parents' residence on Oak Ridge Lane." My brain snagged on about 4 things at once. 40 minutes ago. Tree. Outside my parents' house. My car. "I think you've got the wrong..." I started, then stopped myself, because that's exactly what the guy in every bad true crime documentary says before they cut to mugshots. "I haven't left the house all night," I said instead, "and the car should be in the driveway." "Ma'am," the taller one said carefully, "we need to speak with your daughter. Witnesses at the scene identified her as the driver who left and came home. We're not making assumptions, we just need her account." There are moments when your body reacts before your mind catches up. I felt my stomach drop and my palms go cold, and at the exact same time some stupid part of me thought, 15, if she drove into a tree, she is absolutely grounded until she's 30. Then the rest landed. "Lily?" I repeated. "No, she's been here. She's asleep." The officers traded a look. It wasn't the "oh good, this was a mistake" look. It was the "this is going to be paperwork" look. "We're not here to accuse her," the second one added, "but people at the scene reported otherwise, so we have to follow up." People at the scene. Not your parents, not your sister. Just people. My stomach twisted harder. "Okay," I said, because my brain had apparently lost access to any other word. "Okay, can you give me a second?" I left the door open, both officers visible in the frame like a bad painting, and walked down the hall to Lily's room. The hallway nightlight threw that soft orange glow over the door. I knocked once and opened it. "Lil?" I whispered. She was in bed, hair wild, face creased from the pillow. Her eyes blinked open, unfocused. "What?" she mumbled. "Is it morning?" She was wearing the same oversized camp t-shirt she'd put on after her shower. There was mascara residue under one eye from where she'd been too lazy to fully scrub it off. She smelled like the lavender lotion she uses every night. This was not a kid who had just committed a felony and sprinted home. "There are police at the door," I said quietly. That woke her up. "Why?" she asked, sitting up, voice already tight. "They're saying there was an accident with the car," I said. "They're saying you were driving." Her mouth fell open. I haven't... Mom, I've been here. I didn't... I know. I said. I know. I stepped aside so she could see the uniforms in the hallway through the open bedroom door. Her face went pale in a single second. "Miss Collins?" one of them called. "Can we speak with your daughter, please?" I squeezed her hand once and nodded toward the living room. We walked back together. She tucked herself slightly behind my arm, 15 years old and suddenly looking about 9. "Lily Collins?" the shorter officer said. She nodded. "Can you tell us where you've been tonight?" he asked. "In your own words?" "She's a minor," I said automatically, even though part of me wanted to scream. "Are you serious right now?" "You can ask, but she's not answering anything without a lawyer present." "Ma'am," the taller one said gently. "We understand. We just need to confirm details about what witnesses reported. That's all." His tone said everything he wasn't allowed to. Whatever story they'd already been fed, it wasn't coming from us. "Where's the car?" I cut in. "Excuse me?" "You said the car was involved in a crash," I said. "Where is it now?" "In the impound lot," he said. "It wasn't drivable. The front end was significantly damaged." "Totaled?" "Of course." "And the people at the scene?" I asked. "Who exactly said she was driving?" The officer hesitated just long enough to confirm my worst thought. "We can't disclose that, but we did receive multiple statements." Multiple. Not one. Not someone confused. Plural. And they wouldn't tell me who. That was almost worse than naming them. "Lily," I said, keeping my voice steady, "did you drive tonight?" She shook her head so hard her hair whipped. "No," she said, voice barely more than air. "Mom, I swear, I haven't. You have the keys. I've been here. Please tell them." "She has a permit," I said to the officers. "She's only driven with me in daylight twice. You can check any camera in this neighborhood. She did not take that car tonight." "There's no one alleging she had permission," the shorter one said. "The concern is that she left the scene." He stopped because I think the look I gave him could have cut glass. "I understand your concern," I said slowly, tasting every word. "Here's mine. Someone out there is feeding you a story that doesn't match reality, and until we talk to counsel, she's not saying another word." The taller officer shifted, but didn't push. "We'll note your refusal," he said. "You'll hear from Detective Owens or the DA's office in the next couple of days. Please make yourself available." "Trust me," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." They gave Lily one last look. She stared at the carpet like it was the only thing keeping her from dissolving, then stepped out. I closed the door behind them and threw the deadbolt. For a second, I just stood there, forehead against the wood, listening to the sound of my own breathing. The house was too quiet, the kind of quiet that hums. "Mom?" Lily said, voice small. I turned. Her eyes were wide and shiny, but she wasn't crying yet. Her shoulders were up around her ears like she was bracing for impact. "Am I—" She swallowed. "Am I in trouble? Are they going to, arrest me?" It hit me then how young 15 really is. Old enough to be accused of a crime, young enough to still ask your mother if the monsters at the door are real. "Look at me," I said, crossing the room. She did. "You did nothing wrong," I said. "Nothing. You were here. You followed the rules. You are not in trouble with me." "But they think—" "I don't care what they think," I said, more sharply than I meant to. I softened it. "We're going to fix this, okay? I believe you. I know you didn't touch that car tonight." Her chin wobbled. "I didn't," she whispered. "I promise." "I know," I repeated. "I believe you more than I have ever believed anything in my life." She let out a breath that sounded like it had been locked in her chest for an hour. A single tear escaped and slid down her cheek. She wiped it away fast, almost angry at herself for letting it show. I'm not a bad driver," she said, like that was the worst accusation in the world. "You're a careful driver," I said. "That's why I bought you the car." That set off another ripple of emotion in her face, like she was trying desperately not to fall apart. "Do you think Grandma and Grandpa really said that?" she asked. "That they saw me?" My heart twisted. I didn't know. Not for sure. And the idea of calling them to ask made me feel like I'd be handing them my throat. "I don't know what they said," I admitted, "but whoever talked to the police didn't tell the truth. And we'll find out who." She nodded, but her eyes stayed damp. "I want you to try and sleep," I said. "Tomorrow we're going to talk to someone whose job it is to fix things like this." "Like a lawyer?" she asked. "Exactly like a lawyer," I said. "I'll make calls first thing. And whatever story they think they can pin on you." I brushed her hair back behind her ear. "They're not ready for what's coming." She swallowed and nodded, finally curling back under her blankets. I turned off the light. I thought the knock at midnight was the worst of it. It wasn't. Not even close. When your sister is 10 years younger than you, people always assume you'll feel protective of her. They don't picture 16-year-old you babysitting a cranky 6-year-old while your parents go out because you're such a big help. They don't picture 20-year-old you, home from college for the weekend, walking a hungover 10-year-old to the bathroom because your parents think it's funny when she tries a little wine at family dinner. They certainly don't picture 38-year-old you, standing in your kitchen at 1 a.m, realizing that same golden child just tried to feed your kid to the wolves. Growing up, Jenna was the baby. That was her entire job description. "She's still learning," Mom would say when she broke things that weren't hers. "She's just expressive," Dad would say when she screamed at waiters. I was the responsible one. That was my job. "You know Jenna is sensitive," Mom would tell me. "You're older. You should understand." Funny thing about that phrase. You hear it enough, and eventually you do understand, just not in the way they meant. When Jenna got caught shoplifting lip gloss at 16, my parents drove to the store, begged the manager not to press charges, and then spent the entire ride home lecturing me about how important it was that I not make Jenna feel bad about this. When Jenna backed Dad's old sedan into a mailbox at 19, they joked about it for years. "Remember when our girl tried to take out federal property?" they'd say at Thanksgiving. Everyone would laugh. When I got into a minor fender bender in college because a guy cut me off in the rain, my mother didn't speak to me for 3 days. "I just expected better from you, Erin," she finally said. "You're usually so careful." Translation: Your mistakes are character flaws. Hers are anecdotes. By the time I was in my 30s, divorced, working full-time, raising Lily, the script hadn't changed. I was the one they called when they couldn't figure out their online banking, when their internet went out, when they needed rides to doctor's appointments. Jenna was the one they called our free spirit as she moved in and out and back into their house, changed jobs every 6 months, and somehow always had money for new shoes. "Jenna just hasn't found herself yet," Dad would say, pouring more gravy. "You were always so focused." Focused is such a polite word for on your own. I learned to stop expecting fairness a long time ago. I learned to stop trying to convince them that maybe, just once, they could hold Jenna to the same standard they held me. It was like arguing with a church about their favorite saint. Then I had Lily, and for a little while, the whole golden child ecosystem didn't matter. Lily came into the world already apologizing. At least that's how it felt. She was the baby who cried whenever anyone else cried. The toddler who would put her toys away without being asked. The 7-year-old who would double-check that she'd done all her homework, then ask if there was anything else she could help with. "Are you sure she's mine?" I'd joke. "I don't remember ordering a child with this much conscience." She'd roll her eyes, but you could tell she secretly liked it. When her dad and I split, she handled it like someone twice her age, quietly compartmentalizing, talking it out with the school counselor when she needed to. She never slammed a door, never screamed, never pulled a Jenna. Her rebellion was forgetting to put her dishes in the sink. At 14, when most kids are begging to bend rules, she was the one reminding me of the speed limit. "Mom, it says 30, she'd say from the passenger seat. "Lily, we're going 28. Just saying, 30. The car was the one thing I'd let myself feel proud of. Years of scraping together small savings so that when Lily turned 15, I could hand her something solid, safe, and new. Not flashy, just freedom with airbags. On her birthday, my parents and Jenna came to our house for cake and the big reveal. I walked Lily to the door, told her to close her eyes, and when she opened them to see the silver Civic in our driveway, she made a sound I'll remember until I'm old. "Mom, no way," she whispered, already tearing up. My parents clapped. Jenna didn't. She was too busy staring at the car like it was something she'd ordered, but someone else got first. "Must be nice," she said lightly. "New car at 15. I didn't get my first until, 21? Lily, oblivious, hugged me so hard she nearly knocked the bow off the hood. Inside, Jenna hovered near the door, gaze flicking straight to the hook where the keys hung. Later, she asked, "Think I could take it for a quick spin sometime?" "Absolutely not," I'd said, laughing it off. "Nice try." A few days later, she dropped by again, and now, tonight, when I looked at that hook, one key was gone, and I had the terrible sense that whatever happened next wasn't an accident. The next morning, my inbox had a reply from the attorney. "Ari Kaplan, 8:02 a.m. Got your message. I can do a video consult at noon if that works. Someone, somewhere, was officially on our side." Wild concept. "Hey," Lily said from the doorway. She looked like she hadn't really slept. Same hoodie, same bun. Dark circles that did not belong on a 15-year-old. "They're not coming back, are they?" she asked. "Like, right now?" "Not without calling first," I said. "And next time, they talk to a lawyer, not you." She nodded, picking at her sleeve. "Am I supposed to go to school?" she asked, because of course she did. "Today your job is to not collapse," I said. "We'll email your teachers later." At noon, I clicked the video link. Ari looked exactly like expensive wood if it wore a tie. I gave him the short version. Lily's permit, the birthday car, my parents' house, the midnight knock, the story the officers said they'd already heard from my family. He listened, took notes, and finally said, "Okay, good news is there are no charges yet. Bad news is, if this stays just your word versus 3 relatives, the report will not be on your side." "So what do we do?" I asked. "Step 1. Lily doesn't talk to police without me present," he said. "You already aced that. Step 2. We gather proof. Anything showing Lily was home at that time, and anything showing your sister had the car." "Neighbor's doorbell camera," I said. "He practically runs a surveillance operation on Amazon packages." "Perfect," Ari said. "Ask nicely for footage from last night, and get me screenshots of Lily's activity from that window. Messages, calls, whatever. I'll pull the incident report, see exactly what your family told them." "Can you fix this?" I asked. "I can make it very hard to pretend your daughter was driving," he said. "That's a start." After we hung up, I found Lily on the couch, staring at a baking show without seeing it. "Well?" she asked. "We need proof you were doing what every teen does at midnight," I said. "Texting and doom-scrolling." "I was," she said, offended. I was in my room the whole time. Good, I said. Let's weaponize that. We went through her phone together. At the time the officers said the crash happened, her messages with her friend were stacked like a blue wall, memes, commentary on some stupid plot twist, timestamps marching neatly across the screen. We took screenshots of everything. Then I went to the neighbor across the street and asked if his doorbell might have caught my car leaving. It had. On the playback, my front porch glowed in that weird camera gray. The car sat in the driveway. Jenna walked into frame alone, head down, keys in hand. She got into the driver's seat, started the engine, and drove away. No second figure. No 15-year-old. My stomach twisted, but my brain filed it under Exhibit A. He emailed me the clip. I forwarded it and the phone screenshots to Ari with a simple subject line. Here you go. An hour later, he called. Got the video, he said. It's great. Got the report too. Do you want the infuriating part? I've been training for it, I said. He exhaled through his nose, the kind of breath lawyers take when they're about to deliver something corrosive. All right, Ari said. The report says your sister claims she was at your parents' house the entire time. According to her statement, she looked out the window and saw Lily driving alone right before the crash. My stomach dropped, but he wasn't done. And your parents, he continued, voice tightening just a fraction. Backed that up. Both of them. They told the officers they saw a young girl who was definitely Lily behind the wheel. I closed my eyes. For a second, all I saw was my mother's face at Lily's birthday last week, smiling like she'd invented grandparenting. And that's written, Ari added, in signed statements. I let out a slow breath. So they picked a story and committed. Great. There's more, he said. They included little details. Stuff like, Lily has been getting more confident lately, and that you've been letting her push boundaries. None of it criminal, but enough to paint a picture. Of me being a negligent parent, I said. Exactly. He gave me a moment. It wasn't enough, but it was what we had. Now the good part, Ari said. The neighbor's footage completely contradicts them. It shows Jenna taking your car from your house alone, and Lily's phone activity lines up perfectly with her being home. It's clean. I gripped the counter with one hand. So what happens next? I'm sending everything to Detective Owens today, he said. I'll flag it for DA Whitman as well. Once they see this, the narrative shifts. Hard. And the follow-up meeting? I asked. Still scheduled. 3 days from now. Everyone will be in the same room. Your parents, Jenna, you, Lily. Of course. A family reunion hosted by the criminal justice system. Exactly what I wanted in my week. Erin, he said, softer now. I know this hurts, but the evidence is strong. Let it speak. Yeah, I said. Because my family sure won't. After we hung up, my phone buzzed again. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then came the text. We heard you got a lawyer. This is getting out of hand. Call us. Funny how getting out of hand only applied once I pushed back. I typed, You gave sworn statements about my child. This is out of hand. Talk to your attorney. I sent it before I could decide whether or not to be the bigger person. I've retired from that job anyway. I found Lily in the hallway, hovering like she could sense my mood without hearing a word of the call. Well, she asked. They backed Jenna, I said. I kept my voice even because screaming wouldn't fix anything. All 3 of them said they saw you driving. Something flickered across her face, hurt first, then something sharper. Oh, she whispered. Not tears, just a small, stunned oh. It landed harder than any crying could have. But we have the footage, I said. We have your phone. We have the truth. She nodded, jaw working like she was trying not to clench it too visibly. Mom, she said quietly, Why would they say they saw me? Because protecting Jenna was easier than protecting the truth, but I didn't say that. Because they were wrong, I said. That's all that matters now. She swallowed. Are you sure we're going to win? We don't need to win, I said. We just need to show what actually happened. And we can. She took a deep breath, steadying herself the way she does before school presentations. Okay, she said. Okay. I rested a hand briefly on her shoulder. She didn't pull away. For the first time since that knock at midnight, she didn't look terrified. She looked resolved. Small, but steel. And honestly, same. My parents could write whatever stories they wanted. Jenna could pretend the truth lived behind their curtains, but they'd forgotten one tiny, inconvenient thing. Cameras don't lie. And neither does my kid. Not this time. 3 days later, Lily and I sat in a cramped conference room at the station. Detective Owens sat at the head of the table, Mr. Whitman beside him. Ari flanked our side like a silent, expensive sword. Across from us, my parents and Jenna. If guilt had a smell, the room would have needed ventilation. We've reviewed new evidence, Owens began, tone professional. We want the record to reflect the accurate sequence of events. He opened a folder, turned a page, slid it forward so everyone could see. I didn't have to lean in. I'd seen the footage enough times. A still frame. Jenna in front of my house. Another, Jenna walking to the car. Another, Jenna behind the wheel. Alone. No Lily. Just Jenna and her terrible judgment. In addition, Owen said, Lily's phone data shows uninterrupted activity from her home during the time of the crash. Texts, streaming, everything consistent with her being at home. The silence that followed was so thick I could hear Lily swallow. Mr. Whitman looked at my parents. You stated you saw Lily behind the wheel. Would you like to amend that? My mother blinked rapidly. It was dark, she said, voice thin. We assumed. My father nodded like a dashboard bobblehead. We thought we were helping. Helping who exactly hung in the air like smoke. Whitman turned to Jenna. Your statement claims you watched Lily drive, panic, and flee. Do you stand by that? Jenna's mascara smudged as she stared at the table. No, I wasn't thinking. I got scared. I said she did it. For a moment the room didn't move. Lily's hand tightened around mine, just once. Whitman closed the folder. Given this evidence, we are clearing Lily of all allegations. She will not be charged with any offense related to this incident. I felt Lily exhale. It was the sound of a weight leaving a body that had grown too small for it. As for you, Whitman continued, now addressing Jenna and my parents, this office is reviewing possible charges related to filing false statements. This level of fabrication involving a minor is serious. My mother made a small sound, hurt, outrage, maybe both, but no one rushed to comfort her. Miss Collins? Whitman asked, turning to me. Would you like to say anything? I didn't stand dramatically. I didn't raise my voice. I just spoke. For years, I said, I've been told to understand, to be the bigger person whenever Jenna messed up, to swallow things so she wouldn't feel bad. I looked directly at them. But you didn't just ask me to swallow this. You asked my daughter to. You were willing to bury a 15-year-old to protect a grown woman who stole a car and crashed it into your tree. Jenna cried. Mom reached for her hand. Dad stared at the folder like it held a different ending. You didn't hesitate, I said quietly. You signed your names. You didn't call me. You didn't check. You just chose the story that made your lives easier. I turned back to Owens and Whitman. Thank you for clearing Lily. Whitman nodded. We'll be in touch. That was it. No dramatic gavel, no shouting match. Just fluorescent lights, a few sheets of paper, and the sound of a family structure finally collapsing under its own weight. Outside, Lily walked beside me, shoulders a little looser. "You okay?" I asked. She nodded. "Yeah, just tired." "Me too," I said. "Let's go home." And we did. 6 months later, Oak Ridge Lane looks exactly the same. Except my parents' house. That one has a sold sign out front. Turns out filing false statements about a minor leaves a mark. Jenna ended up with a misdemeanor on her record. My parents got their own matching versions for knowingly providing inaccurate information. Not prison, but enough to make legal documents an adventure. I heard all of this from a cousin who still talks to them. We don't. Insurance denied everything. Unauthorized driver, conflicting statements, zero coverage. Ari filed a civil claim. They settled fast. Full value of the car, plus my fees. Then Jenna's fines hit. Then the attorney bills. The loans snowballed until the house had to go. Meanwhile, Lily's thriving. New, used Corolla, good grades, therapy sessions that actually help. Our home is quieter now, cleaner, safer. No toxic relatives, no second chances for people who showed us exactly who they were. Some say I went too far, others say not far enough. What do you think? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more.